Hey friends, this is Jordan with O & Co Games. This probably goes without saying, but music is a critical piece of any video game. It immerses players in the experience and guides their emotions. Intense music can elicit feelings of urgency or action, while calm music can elicit feelings of peace and security. Our game Tethergeist is of course no exception, and we want to make sure to get the music just right for the gaming experience we're designing. Honestly, Tethergeist's soundtrack has been at the forefront of my mind from the very beginning. Music has always been an integral part of my life. I grew up going to piano lessons every week, I played trombone in my high school jazz and symphonic bands, and I've been writing music ever since I got a keyboard for Christmas when I was 14 years old. I even almost majored in music in college until I realized I didn't really have the patience to practice 8 hours a day. Even so, during my college years, I co-owned a small recording studio, ran a YouTube channel showcasing live recordings of local musicians, and I had a band that I wrote music for. We even sold out our local venue when we released our first album. Anyway, all of that is to say, I care a lot about music. Now, for our game Tethergeist, I still have a lot to work on in relation to music, like mixing and mastering. However, I feel like I finally made enough progress on the music for Chapter 1 to share it with you guys. So before I even started writing anything, I first had to determine the kind of instruments I would use for the soundtrack of Chapter 1. The instruments need to reflect the pacing, environment, emotions, and story in the chapter. Since our main character's hometown is based in the mountains and draws inspiration from various Eastern styles, it seemed fitting to use acoustic instruments like a koto or santur. These instruments have a certain traditional and proper sound that fits the environment and culture of May's people. Since May's hometown is in a sort of jungle-like mountain range, I determined that the percussion should reflect a sort of wild, jungle-like atmosphere. I ended up using a world percussion set to achieve this sound of raw energy. I also wanted to choose an instrument that I could use to represent May's voice in all of this. She's very determined, but also gentle and innocent. I thought a flute voice captured these attributes quite well, while also blending in with the other instruments I chose to represent her homeland. Since most notes on the flute sound better in a higher registry, it also acts as a good instrument for lead melodies. Beyond the more organic sounding instruments, I still needed to fill out the sound and tie it all back to the medium we're working in, that is to say a pixel platforming video game. So I added a few subtle synthesizers to bring in that electronic vibe. My goal is to blend the natural sounds with the artificial, much like we're doing in our artwork. With the instruments selected, I got to work writing songs. In the beginning, I just wanted to write songs to practice working with all of these instruments together, just to understand how to blend them together and how each voice should sit in the mix. Most of these practice songs ultimately won't make it into the game, but it felt like an important step for me to get a feel for how I want the music to sound. And I suppose I did get some good songs to include as background music for these devlogs. Anyway, once I felt comfortable enough with the instruments, I started writing songs that more intentionally fit into the story. The first song that I wrote was the day theme for May's hometown. I wanted it to feel structured and have the energy of a town that's awake, one in which its citizens are out and about performing their daily tasks. I also wanted the song to have a sort of proper sound to reflect the traditional and organized nature of the town's culture and the elders that kind of run the town as a whole. The final song sounds like this. With the day theme written, I got to work writing the night theme for the hometown. I used the same basic instrumentation, but I slowed down the song significantly. I used the same melody from the day theme, but using various synthesizer effects, I wanted to achieve a quieter and sleepier feeling. So the night theme sounds like this. The next song on the list is one that plays as May is beginning her journey after she leaves her village at night. This is the first part in the story where she truly begins to act independently and where the adventure really starts. I wanted to capture this feeling of excitement and anticipation, as well as the wild atmosphere of the mountainous jungles outside of the village. The song starts with pretty high energy drums to reflect both of these feelings. I included very little undertones intentionally to make it feel less stable, echoing the instability May is feeling as she takes her first steps into the unknown. There's a shuffling intensity about this song to match the difficult platforming that lies ahead. As the song progresses, so do the undertones, reflecting May's and the players' growing confidence as they learn how to traverse the obstacles and, well, play the game. The second melody in this song is meant to really drive this message home by shifting into a positive key and an overall optimistic feel. Here's what it sounds like transitioning from the original melody to that alternative, optimistic melody. The last song I wanted to cover in this devlog is the song that plays at the campfire at the end of the chapter. Here, May meets a new character who is totally foreign to everything she knows. This character is from a completely different city with its own distinctive styles and cultures. So going through the same process as I did before, I selected very specific instruments that reflect that society's aesthetic. Now, at this point in the game, the player has completed a lot of pretty difficult platforming and is finally able to rest a bit as they get to know this new stranger. So the energy in this song is dialed way back from the song that was just playing, helping the player feel that sense of accomplishment while also reflecting the calm tone of the conversation May will be having with her new friend. Here's what that song sounds like. Now, you'll notice the instrumentation is quite different, with calmer synths and a piano now taking the forefront of the melody. The drums are also no longer organic sounding, but are played through an electric drum kit instead. I think altogether, this song really fits the mood we're aiming for in this section of the game. Now, there's obviously a lot more I could tell you about the music making process, like how each instrument was recorded, what types of techniques I used, and how I structured each song. If that's something that interests you, let me know in the comments, and I might make a more in-depth video on the music for Tethergeist. In the meantime though, that will about wrap things up for this devlog. Outside of the music, we've been doing a lot of work polishing our vertical slice of Chapter 1 in preparation for a demo launch on Steam. If you'd like to follow along on our progress and even playtest our current build, please wishlist Tethergeist on Steam, join our Discord server, and subscribe to our channel. All of the links you need are in the description below. We will not stop working on Tethergeist until it is the masterpiece we envision it to be. Thanks for sticking with us on this crazy game dev journey, and as always, thank you so much for watching.